Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sir, and I'm just here to give you a little bit of a tour of our community, more about the infrastructure than anything, really. We have some unique challenges that we have to overcome with our community. Things like, how do we keep everyone, on the same page with announcements and so on? How do we make sure everyone can get together and game, especially when we transitioned from a foxhole only clan to a multi gaming clan community thing. There is definitely a lot going on as far as that. So, we have multiple games. Everyone wants to play something different. New games are coming out all the time. It can be a mess at times, really. Um, we used to use commands through bots such as Dino. And if you don't know about Dino in your Discord admin, definitely go get Dino. It's basically par for the course. It's necessary for most Discord servers. I definitely recommend it. Um, Developers are great. The community is great. I've been in that community for a long time now. Yeah, Dino is basically the workhorse of the majority of things I do in most of the servers I own or administrate. So definitely go get that. That being said, there are some nuances that come into play, especially when you're trying to manage and rapidly manage a large number of things like roles. And in a way that's user friendly. There's a certain point where commands for bots are not user friendly. There aren't very many things in Discord that are point and click other than the basics. You can't point and click a role onto yourself without having the ability of giving yourself roles. Um, yeah, it can be kind of weird. Um, so in order to get around that, we essentially created what's called the game library, and that is actually in essence a channel of games, various genres, um, just a place where you can just get a role on demand. And this is actually facilitated through a bot. And the bot that was using, there's a couple out there. There's like a reaction role and a few other bots that have it as part of it. But I wasn't satisfied with reaction role. They had some limitations on the premium service for such a new bot. It just wasn't going to cut it for me. I started using a bot called Zira. But Zira actually got discontinued by a developer. However, they were kind enough to release the everything open source. So I kind of took that and I morphed it into React Plus, which is my name for the bot, really. So I basically I use this bot to assign roles dynamically based off of the reactions. So if I were to react, so right now I've got all these roles. You can see I have some of the game roles here. Let's say if I wanted to add the Destiny 2 role, right? And we can see here this is the Destiny 2 role. If I click this, the bot will automatically give me the Destiny 2 role. And if I unreact from that, you can see here I no longer have that role. Simple shit. Doesn't really complicate that much more. There are some interesting hurdles that we have to overcome just by using the system, though. For instance, there's so many games out there, and new games are being constantly added. People are picking up old games, and so on. You look at your Steam library, and that tells you enough, right? Now these are all multiplayer games, and there are some utility roles down here. As you can see, shooter, survival, real-time strategy, and all these other categories here. MMORPG, grand strategy, and I kind of did custom graphics for these, so It's just a little bit of a collage of game art, I guess. And then there's other as well here. So I've got a role here if you're a Discord Nitro user and you have access to the Discord Nitro games. You've got that there. LFG, looking for game. Just an extra utility role there. And you can see some categories don't have anything in them yet. If someone suggested League of Legends, we could definitely add that there as well. Party games, those could be added, and so on. And as you can see here, I have a few placeholder, intentionally left blank messages here. So if I hit the limit of reactions, and I can't remember how many, I think it's like 14 or 15 per message. If I hit that limit on the first message, I have additional. So this actually is message number 1, 2, 3, 4. Each category has 4, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 total categories. One of the limitations I came up with here is if we get to a point where there's too many emojis, right? So you have your own server, you have your own emojis, the cool shit that your community has come up with, or memes or whatever. But you don't want to dump all your game emojis into there, right? Like that just seems kind of weird to do, just to mash up. And there's only a limit of 50 emojis per Discord server, plus 50 animated emojis. So I guess you could get away with turning a couple of them into animated emojis, maybe add a second frame into it or something, and have the system pick it up. But that's really only usable if you can access those animated emojis through like Discord Nitro and so on. So my way around this is actually to create an emoji server. So I have a few emoji servers, like my Picard and Star Trek, and I have like a number of other emoji servers, but I have a game emoji server. And really, this is just a list of available emojis. As you can see here, I've already got 39 emojis in this server. Of course, that's got like LFG, and even a few, sub game modes like Trouble in Terrorist Town, TTT, Prop Hunt, and so on. But all these different games are here, and they're all named for very specifically what the game is. That way, if someone is highlighting this, hovering over, they could see they reacted with War Thunder, they reacted with PUBG, and so on. That also makes it very easy to mention these roles. So all of these roles are actually mentionable, which is very important, actually. So if I go into a channel and I was like, hey, at Worlds Adrift, you guys want to play Worlds Adrift? Who wants to play Worlds Adrift? That further lets you get a little bit more fine-tuned control with that. And really, the way I'm doing this is simply by I add the emojis first off, it starts out with people requesting it. So if you want to suggest a game, I have people submitting to a form. That makes it super easy to keep track of it, and that's really important. I'll tell you why in a moment. But I first acquire an icon, typically a square icon, maybe edit it in Photoshop a little bit. Just something simplified, and to the point. So you see I have a game emojis icon there, but I might have the StarCraft 2 emoji, and I just make sure it's square and all that fun stuff. It doesn't really need to be large. It could be like 56 pixels or something square, and it would work because the emojis are tiny. So that's pretty important. So you get your emoji in there. Make sure it's at least somewhat identifiable. It's really hard due to the size of these. I wish these were, if there's no other content, maybe it would let you increase the size of these emojis, something that'd be nice and dynamic, but it's not really a Discord feature. It's kind of a workaround that bots listen for reactions on messages that they're set to listen to, so that's cool. So I go and download those emojis, right? And I save them and I upload them to the game emoji server. Now, uh, as you can see, I'll grab this here. I've got my input here. So all these people, that's not yet added, but that's something I'm going to add actually. And this would serve as a good example. But Mako just requested Warcraft 3 because Warcraft 3 is getting, um, uh, updated with a brand new HD version, so to speak, right? Basically, all these games have been suggested by people in the community. There's some of them that we added just by default, like Foxhole, for instance. All these are suggested, and I have them ask, give me a summary of it. What is the game? Who do you know that plays it? So I can make sure that those people know that we add those emojis. In the form, there's also like, is it released early access and all that fun stuff, and I keep track of it. Now, this is like step one, right? I take this, I download the game logos and so on. I throw down the emojis, and then I come over to the game library. Now, because there's so many channels in there, or sorry, channels, messages in here. So each and every one of these messages has a message ID, and that's important because in order for a bot to accurately interact with that message, they have to know the ID in order to put like the emojis on the right spot. Otherwise, you're gonna have emojis everywhere, and that doesn't make any sense. So I'm actually using this spreadsheet here to keep track of literally everything. And the beauty of this is once I had it set up, I never have to really deal with this again for setup. I have all of their IDs, and I know what slot this is in. So I could tell you that all of these games are in the first message of the shooters category, and so on. You can see here at Elder Scrolls, I actually messed up. I copied the second ID instead of the first one and I added it. But I'm able to keep track of exactly where it is. So if I have to go in there and I have to remove it, or if I want to add more, I just go down the line here. And because everything is done by command, it's super easy to do. So I'm able to copy and paste this and add them by command after I get this set up. So I'll go back and forth with the commands for this. And if I go back to my officer channel, here, my temps up, I just put this up temporarily. But as you can see, earlier today, I was actually adding these things. And I did this with a combination of Dino and React Plus, right? So I'm adding a role here with Dino, right? And then I'm adding or making it mentionable. And that means so you can mention it with the at symbol, at World War III and so on, right? So I did that first two steps, boom. And I already had this copied and pasted from the spreadsheet because I just copy pasted it and I did the command. And then I added the role to the message. And actually, I had done that one is a little bit different. I think I may have already been set. No. Okay, so this is actually a wrong command. I'm going to delete this out of the way. Message and then the channel ID. So that goes, yeah, okay, I'm going to go do whatever you're telling me to do on this message. And then I add, and this is where it becomes super easy. If you have Discord Nitro, you can use these emojis from the game emoji server. Otherwise, you're having to do it with the emoji ID, which adds more steps. If you're not a Nitro user, I recommend it. It's really important for power users like to use it for this stuff. And there's other perks. You get to have the animated avatars. You get all the fun stuff. I personally loved it for the larger upload limit. So Discord Nitro is definitely worth it to me. Plus now I got the Discord games. Nitro games are free to play with Discord Nitro, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's basically there. It's added. And then the bot basically handles everything. So back in the game library, when someone goes and clicks on it, it just boom, it's added. So that's pretty cool. I use this React Plus in like a number of places. Even within our own server, I have this here, so people who want to get notifications about our Twitch channel within our server, they can react to that and they're able to get it. When people accept the rules, something as simple as that, instead of having to do a command, question mark accept, to accept our rules, most importantly, don't be a bag of dicks. You just react with it, and boom, they have the check mark role, which signifies that they accepted the rules, and then they get access to more of our channels. Pretty important. And the games we play, I can actually go through here, and I'm actually going to take this out and move it to a reference of the game library, which will be cool. Game library right now is just the internal thing for our members, but I'm going to be making it public at some point. It was really important to not make it spammable or apparent to outside users, that these mentionable roles exist, especially when the server gets larger and larger and larger. That can be pretty important to do. But if you're trusting and you have good moderation or leaders within your communities to take care of it, it should be less of an issue. So that's pretty good. I also use this over in the Foxhole official Discord as well, because I'm an admin over here. Power user stuff, react to the emojis below to get the corresponding rules. So you have things like the Colonial and Warden logo, and so on. And this makes it super, super easy instead of having to do the question mark, the command for it, right? So I have to, first off, either create a rank within Dino or use a custom command. Both are acceptable. Ranks are like what they're designed for, being able to opt in within Dino. But I like to use custom commands in some ways because it gives you more finer control. For instance, if I were to use the Colonial command, it would not let you have the Warden role with the Colonial and so on. So it will make sure to remove it, which is not yet possible with React Plus. It's actually like I'm planning on adding like a toggle ability to React Plus. Like I said, it was an open source project after Zero shut down, and I've been adding and tweaking a little bit with React Plus here and there to make it more usable. I plan on maybe eventually making it public. I let a few different servers use it, like friends and so on, because I don't want it to, I don't want to make it public and have to deal with like adding features and so on just yet until I get all the, everything corrected that needed to be so far. But yeah, so as far as infrastructure goes, this is a huge benefit for this. As soon as I got this implemented, our being interact with our community and everyone being able to talk to each other with the games that they love and are actually playing has been huge and important for us, and as far as growth and activity. I'm no longer just trying to struggle to find someone to play. I can opt into this. I could see who else opted into it, so I can go, okay, hey, it looks like Scorpion has this as well, and I could just go click on it and go, hey, okay, Afian, while he plays Rocket League, what a guy. So this has been a huge benefit to us, and this is probably one of my more favorite power user Discord projects as a whole. And it wouldn't really be, it could be possible without Dino. Technically, I could go back and forth, manually adding the roles and so on. But that's just, it's not intuitive for time. It's a lot of back and forth, and just being able to, do the setup, once in the first place. Once I got that spreadsheet set up, it made it so much easier to actually do, and to maintain. So when I go and add the Warcraft 3, and actually, you know what? Let's do it live. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a Warcraft 3 logo, right? So I'm going to go ahead and grab Warcraft 3 logo. And one of the pro tips here is go to Tools, Size, Icon. That will always, always, always grab you a square image within the search. You can grab one of these and make use of it, edit it in Photoshop and so on, which we could do. And I might opt to do still, depending on what the options are in the icons. And I could actually change this to icon. And we might even get some of the old school Warcraft 3 icons. I'm not satisfied with that search, so I'm going to go back to logo. This looks pretty good, as is this with Frozen Throne logo behind it. As you can see, there's StarCraft and all these other searches. World of Warcraft, of course, is going to show up, and this, might confuse people with that. So, even though you could barely see it, I kind of like this Frozen Throne graphics. So I'm actually going to save that. And let's go to let's navigate. I'm navigating to my clans folder because I have so much stuff. Discord, game rules, new. Okay, there we go. So I'm actually going to go ahead and save this here. Warcraft 3, right? So I've got that, and I'm actually going to shove this right into Discord. That's kind of a cool effect, but it doesn't really make sense. Let's see what it looks like with black. Black is okay. White, no. I might even just check out blue. Yeah, I like that. The other option might be gold. Might look good. Not really. So I'm going to stick with that blue. Now I'm going to double check to make sure there isn't a better logo that I might opt to use. This looks like it has a white around it. High res, Warcraft 3, Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos. I could even just search Warcraft 3 here real quick and see if there's anything that comes up. Not really. So it looks like that's what I'm going to use. It doesn't have to be so specific. If you just hover over it, it'll tell people what's going on. And I'm actually just going to go ahead and save this game rules new as a PNG. And I'm just going to replace it so it actually says Warcraft 3. I could have added that without that background, but I know because transparent emojis will take on, whatever gray it is, that might not look the best in the background. I could have done it. And in hindsight, it probably doesn't matter as much looking at that. It actually doesn't look that bad. So I could even just take this. And let's do it. Let's go ahead and do it. I didn't even have to edit this in Photoshop. Like I said. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go to my game emojis. I'm going to go to emoji, upload, new, Warcraft 3. That's there. Now I'm actually going to go back to my game library here. I'm going to go here, type in, adding this. Go to my game library. Warcraft 3 is a RTS. So Warcraft 3, I'm going to put that into slot 1. So check this out. Warcraft 3, go back to Reborn. And I'm going to go to my temp setup channel, right? Add role, Warcraft 3, make it mentionable. One of the things I wish I could do would be to something like add role Warcraft 3 mentionable, right? To flag it as mentionable during the creation process. It'd be like a nice little addition. You could already hoist it with by command, but this just makes it easier for me, right? So I made that mentionable, and now I'm going to go ahead and add it. So I'm going to set my message. Of course, I have to actually copy that, and of course I can just copy it like that. Let's set the message I'm working with to that, and I should be good to go. Add Warcraft 3 at Warcraft 3. So I could see here that If I hadn't made it mentionable, I wouldn't have been able to do this. Boom. Now, if I go to my game emojis, and I look at RTS, it's there, right? So now I can go here and say, at Mako, Warcraft 3 has been added, because he was talking about it. And if he wants to get me to add Guild Wars 2 and ESO and all that fun stuff, and of course I want it to go through the forum just so I can make sure I can keep track of it better, and that way I can check it once a day or once a week or whatever my desire to check it. I added earlier. I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. And it was really easy to do. I was able to just go down the line, get the logos downloaded, edit them a little bit depending on the logo, and just go through the spreadsheet, and there you go. It's as easy as that. And it's super important for me to use Dino or whatever else. You can use a different bot if you want. Dino is just supreme above all else in this regard, for server management and utility. So I use it. Use to add the role, make it mentionable, and then I go ahead and select the message, and boom, add the emoji. And it's just like that. If I add that right there, you can see here I have Warcraft 3. And because I have my game roles at the very bottom of the list, in my roles, I never have to worry about reorganizing them or so on. As soon as I add it, it gets added to the bottom. Boom, it's done. Very easy, very simple, very clean. That is possibly one of the most important things as far as infrastructure goes to me. Is ease of use. If it can save steps and it can make it so much easier for the people in the community, then I'm all for it. So that's pretty cool. And that was really one of the first major things that I did to our clan community to make it more user friendly to the members and to promote activity. The other thing that I've done is, and I wish that this bot was open source or something, because there's so many changes I want to make to it. It's a relatively new bot. It's called Manager, and it does something really, really simple, and that is managing channels for me. So I can actually use this bot to dynamically create on-demand channels, voice channels and text channels, and so on. This has saved us a lot in terms of channel gore, right? It's very easy, especially when you support so many games, to instinctively add channels for everything. And instead of either adding a function to a bot to rename channels, or giving general members the ability of managing channels like our voice channels, I wanted to make it so we can easily dynamically select these channels and make use of them and get rid of them when we're done with them. So I'm actually using the Manager bot for this. And that's something where if I click on this channel here, it knows to create for me a channel, right? And if I leave this channel after 30 seconds, it will go away. And I basically become the owner. So if I actually go here and I can go and room set name, hello there. If I were to be playing Rust, for instance, or anything like that, let's go Rust, baby. If I were to be playing Rust, I would name this Rust so people know I'm playing Rust, and boom. The bot has actually changed the channel name to Rust. Now, I can't go in, I can't spam channels. If someone were to come in here, so if Sokka were to come in here and make a channel, I'm going to drag him in here for demonstration purposes. He actually gets his own channel, and that's pretty cool. Now, if I leave this, leave these channels here, after 30 seconds, you could set it up. It could be 5 minutes or a minute and a half or whatever. But these channels will go away on their own, and that is huge. It really gives more capability the to the owners and the people who have to manage these channels for it to be not shitted up with channel gore right away. So that's pretty important. It makes things cleaner. Of course, we still have categories for some text channels that are like long term, right? Um, so if I have a Rush channel under other games. Foxhole has its own category because it was one of our main games and still remains to be essentially our main game. It's pretty important. You could actually see here that this Andrew just joined that channel for no reason. Good job, Andrew. My channel just actually went away, like you see on its own, so that's pretty cool. But that's pretty big as far as infrastructure goes, and it actually took off pretty quickly. Once people learned how to set the name and how to use it, it's super intuitive. I could use a command to summon the channel, but because of the channel on demand, it just detects that someone joined it. It just creates it and it moves you down there automatically. It's so good. That's got to be one of my other favorite infrastructure capabilities thus far. Um, Another thing that we've got going on here for infrastructure is our rules and info. Just like at the game library, once I get this channel set up correctly, I rarely have to actually delete these messages unless I need to actually replace the headers. And these headers, something very clean, to the point. You can put your logo in there. I've seen some really, really, really cool artwork in some category headers created by some other server owners. And this is really just an image thrown into Discord. Now, of course, you don't see these all the time if you're using like different appearance settings in Discord. But they look really good most of the time to most of the users. So it's really cool. It's something so simple that can legitimize your server in just another manner. It makes it a little bit hard to edit, and if I have to update, if I want to get rid of this header, I have to delete this whole section up to the header, which means I basically repaste this whole thing. Some servers, like the Dino server, do this with a bot. They have everything all dynamic and it looks clean. But to me, this actually is kind of cramped. And to use another example in the Foxhole FAQ, you can kind of do it like this. If you have an FAQ, it's each and every section of the Discord embed, which is this kind of formatting here. It can look clean with a header, but it's not like in your face. And this works really well if you have a long list like this. I really like this. Now for us, having these headers is pretty cool. Foxhole game, and the welcome rules. You can see this is one of the first places I did this. I've got the welcome with very clean graphics that are more on brand. Since this is like a game server, verified game server, it's a branding thing, right? Simple infrastructure doesn't have to stop at the bots that you have or the channels that you have. It goes all the way down to ease of access and putting information there in a usable format and in readable format. So I've got all of our social media for Foxhole, all of our server rules, all of the appropriate rules are named out there, and of course the reaction rules here due to React Plus. Same thing in the Reborn clan community, rules and info, social media rules, games you play, recruitment info, and that's it. Now, one of the other things that works really well as well is this link here, this instant invite. Since you don't get vanity links as the regular scrub, Foxholes is discord.gg/foxhole. You don't get that vanity link as a scrub. So this actually this instant invite link has been around since the inception of the server. To the point where if I look at any other channel, I could tell you it's discord.gg/jjpcrfy. And I could tell you that, it's capital this, lowercase this, and all that fun stuff, right? Another simple thing that you can do for your clan as a whole is, of course, having a clan website, which we have done, but also just owning a domain. RebornGaming.pro is ours for now. And actually, if people go to reborngaming.pro/discord, it will redirect them to this instant invite link. Same thing with our application. Our application is actually Discord or Google Form based. So being able to have all of our forms neatly organized with a simple word. If I want to tell someone to apply, go to reborngaming.pro/apply, and it'll take them to that form. Having a domain, even if it's a cheap one or a basic one that you can spew out just by typing in games that you're playing or verbally, and being able to have it set the redirects to whatever you're talking about is huge. I personally like Namecheap as my domain registrar, but you can get it through GoDaddy or 1&1, or any number of domain registrars, and being able to know what you're talking about when it comes to DNS records and so on, in order to set like the CNAME and all that fun stuff, or redirects. That's pretty big. I'm actually able to do this now, through WordPress. I hate WordPress. It's like a buzzword thing now. I used to do WordPress sites. We actually, I just set this up. I mean just. We actually have the Reborn Gaming website, right? And this is going to change, like, probably within the hours of this video. But being able to just click on this, I can click on Discord and boom, it'll take you there. I can get to our Twitch, or I could tell people, hey, reborngaming.pro/discord or /Twitch/YouTube, and it will take them there instead of having to remember it. YouTube used to actually have, very easy to get vanity URLs. So you could be youtube.com/whatever. That's no longer the case. You have to be like, YouTube famous or relatively YouTube famous in order to get that functionality now. So like the YouTube URL is, youtube.com/channel/ something that I will never be able to pronounce or type out or remember. So being able to say reborngaming.pro/YouTube is really huge. It basically takes the place of a short URL, and you could actually use vanity URLs as short URL, bit.ly, bit.ly. They actually require you to be an enterprise user in order to use that now. To have the custom one, so you could, if bit.ly/reborn YouTube, that would work. But it's not as user friendly, so I like using redirects for that purpose. You could actually install something like URLs onto your, depending on who you host your web service. If you have a cPanel access, you could typically install that through the cPanel. It's a PHP utility to create those redirects, basically. So if I had something like rgc.pro or rgc.com or whatever, and I wanted to use that as my short URLs, I could actually do that through that. It's not as necessary, but when you think about your clan as a brand and as a whole, it gives you that extra little bit of legitimacy and ease of use, especially if you're in chat or games that don't allow clicking on links within their game. Being able to easily type it, that discord.gg/jjpcrfy is not user friendly. So having that little minor thing as far as clan infrastructure goes, it's not even Discord related. That's pretty important. And now I've got the ability of showing our Discord server and so on our website. So that's pretty cool. And I can take this and manipulate this website to do whatever we want. I could get our application on here. And as we grow, this video is going to be playing on here and all this stuff. As we grow, You could do so much more. So yeah, that's about it. There's so much as far as infrastructure that you can do, and not every server is going to be doing this stuff. It's not a one size fits all thing. We have unique challenges within our community that we need to overcome, and that's why we utilize these types of bots. So that's pretty cool. Um, it's unique, not one size fits all. Um, these categories, I could change these to be a little bit different. It really suits our community and our needs. And that's what's important to you and your community. If you don't need that, if you don't need more than two channels, don't make more than two channels. There's nothing worse than channel gore. If you look at archives, we've had all these different channels at some point. So yeah. Anyways, that's my ramble and kind of my tour of some of our more in-depth infrastructure. If you have any questions, comment or let me know. Join our community, join our clan, say hello. And yeah, it's pretty cool. If you need any pointers, if you want to use Dinobot, I'll put that link in the YouTube video description. If you're interested in that type of stuff, definitely come chat. If you're interested in Dino, like I said, React Plus is not public yet, but I do intend on making it public. Otherwise, if you're good with open source and hosting bots and all that fun stuff, and not just illiterate to those capabilities, go for it. If you want to go find the Zira ZIRA open source repo on GitHub, go for it. But for me, I wanted more features and I wanted to make something out of it, so that's why I got React Plus. So yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with me and going through this. You didn't really need to listen to most of it, but if you're interested in this stuff, there you go. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.